soybeans, and over there on the other side where that little tower is right near my house. Well, over here is where Sonia J, my best friend growing up, lived. And now the highway running through that field, but back in the day, you know, when I was a little girl and so was Sonia J, there wasn't a field, and we would always run through the middle of the soybeans and we would meet in the middle because we were scared to run through there. And yeah, me and Sonia J. You know what's funny is Sonia J, and then I had my cousin Leslie, and we were bestest buddies, but she always just called us best cousins, and I wasn't sure if that was best friends or like, I didn't know the ranking of that. But then I had Pammy, who was my most bestest friend all in high school, and not to forget Jackie. So that was like my friends. That was it. That is the roster right there. And I didn't steer clear. I didn't steer that far either. And like if Pam was going to be out of school, Jackie, she exited school early, and she had a baby very young, and like my little girl. And now she's, you know, which is a good point, because now she's 2 years older than me, but both of her girls are grown, and now she has a grandbaby, and Evie Ray is her name. And it just, things work out, you know, like it seemed like gridlock at the time, and everybody's like, oh, Jackie, you know, Jackie not in school, and Jackie and baby, and Jackie had a baby, and it was like the world was gonna end, and guess what, it didn't. And then I don't know, but anyway, so then there was Pam and I, and if Pam wasn't coming to school that day, I was like, yes, I don't know, like I'm not going to that lunchroom by myself. It wasn't that I couldn't talk to people or wasn't sociable, but really, girls didn't like me very, like, I was friends with dudes, do you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so that's not why I was coming to talk to y'all. That was just a little side note. But what are y'all doing today? It's been a rainy day in South Carolina, and I was just thinking to myself, I've had some gridlock situations, or let's just say tightening down of it feels like a Rubik's Cube, though you know those things are solvable, and I'm just waiting until nobody's looking so I can peel the stickers off and stick them back on the right side so everything can look smoothed out, you know, in my own way. Anyway, so the Rubik's Cube, yes, that's what's been going on. And I was just thinking to myself how, you know, when you're just stuck in the muck of that, you can really, sometimes there's nothing that can be done about the situation, but I'll tell you the worst thing you can do in just a second. There's nothing that can be done, and you know how I am. I'm about getting a plan, doing the plan, getting the results. And sometimes the Rubik's Cube cannot be turned. You don't know how to solve it, and people are watching. You can't peel the stickers off yet, so you have to wait. So what you do is you put that on the back burner, and you know you don't turn your stove on because you're a raw foodie, right? So you can just put the little basket back there. You're probably not a basket because somebody else could accidentally turn that on, but you see what I'm saying? And then you wait, and then you know, okay, I'm going to get back to that X hour of the day or whatever. Prioritize is what I'm saying. But another thing you can do is you can move a muscle, because I was just chatting with Debbie about something on here, and I was feeling a little perplexed about it, and then I was downloading a new song because Christopher loves, Mother's Day came around, you know, and he loves to give me the gift that keeps on giving, which is an iTunes card, you know, for my phone. And so I had just downloaded a song, and I was going to bounce to that, and I noticed just after 3 or 4 minutes of bouncing on my rebounder, I was feeling it takes you, it's like a euphoria, you know what I mean? It brings you into the breath and into the moment, into the music. And you know, we can really, like, some people can worry themselves into anxiety, an anxiety ball. I am one of those people, and I really try to manage that. And if I'm not careful, if I don't prioritize it and put it in the side basket, I can do things to try to, because I haven't done anything with the situation. Sometimes you can't change it in the moment, right? But you can understand, maybe you made a list and you put it in the basket. Maybe you understood you're going to come back in 2 days. You know, a lot of times if we wait 3 days, big things can happen. You know what I'm saying? 3 days. So anyway, you're going to come back in 3 days or whatever, or you know, you're going to talk this through, or whatever you're going to do. But the thing is, here's the worst thing you can do. Are you ready? Dope yourself down out of thinking about it. And I'm not talking about getting your mind off of it. Like I just said, you're getting back to it. What I'm talking about is doping yourself down in a way that when you come back to reality, guess what? Things are worse. Like, for example, drinking. How many people do you know now? It is just like everybody I know drinks. Not a little bit, heavily. Not everybody, but most people. And what about, how about this? How about 47% of the adult population, 33 years and older, are on antidepressants/sedatives? Why is that? Back in the day, people weren't on those because we got a problem and we want to dope it down. Well, guess what? When you come out of your funk, your zombie state, it's still there, and it's probably worse because you hadn't done nothing about it but zoned yourself out. But that's not even the most typical thing people do. Y'all know what I'm going to say. What do they do? Hey, Raw Randa, how are you? Raw Randa, we've worked that situation out. Did you see that? Are you happy about that? Okay, so here's what people do. They dope themselves down with food. I'll tell you what, your body goes through this physiological change, okay? It is a physical change when you even know you're fixing to eat like a high fat or sugary, like it starts to pump the endorphins, you know what I mean? It's a real feel good kind of chemical that's pumped out in your brain. But what happens is we're not really even getting a nutrient hit. It's a jack up and a drop down because these foods are not foods, they're chemicals to create a low grade addiction in your body that brings on a low and slow, though real, mass destruction of your health. People turn around, they go through these situations, and they come out after the situation is over, or they come back to, their senses, and they've gained, 50, 60 pounds. Or they've lost their health. They haven't actually been giving themselves real food. They've lost their hair and all kinds of stuff. I tell people a lot of times, and this is something that I really have experienced in my life. Let's just say you have something tragic happen in your life. Let's say you had a death in the family. That's a tragedy that most people have to live through at some point in their life. Or maybe you lost your job, or maybe your hubby left you, or you've got a teenager went awry, or all these things that can happen, you know what I mean? Or frankly, you just can't get out of this funk. Maybe like you are a person who wants to give love to a special companion, and guess what? You can't find nobody. Okay, that's a real thing. Well, here's the thing. When you come out on the other side of that situation, let's just say there's been a death in the family, or maybe you're caring for your elderly parents, or you're a caregiver, and that can be very stressful. And a lot of times people in a caregiver situation put themselves last, but then they can't even be on top of their game to give care to the ones they care for, which is sad because they didn't care for themselves first. They actually depleted their cup. It ran dry. You know what I mean? They didn't have their roots growing deep into the nourishing soil, so when the first wind came, they didn't get any sleep for 5 or 6 days, or all these different things happened, and they blew over in the wind. There was no roots to hold them tight. Or they're going through this situation, or maybe their mom's in the hospital, or she's, hospice has come. All these different things that can go on. The tragedies happen, okay? Well, look, here's your health right here. You're holding on to it right now. Maybe it's not even perfect, but you're working on it. You're on your game. You got a plan. Okay, so then this happens. You know what happened? Life happened, because it does to everybody. So life happened, and whatever this situation is, maybe it doesn't even resolve itself. Maybe your parent dies, or maybe the tragedy is the worst ending, but at some point the scenario is going to switch. There's going to be a sway, and on the other side of that, you're going to come out with either your health totally deteriorated or your health intact. And it's a phenomenal thing to think about, that why people, when they're in their really tricky stages, you see this all the time, if like a spouse leaves or there's a breakup, and somebody will just eat theirself into, now they got 40, 50 pounds. They already felt like crap about theirself because, Billy Bob left them, and, and now she's going to eat herself into this frenzy. Now she's going to feel like she can't even get in her clothes. How about this? How about getting on top of your game? How about instead of waiting on somebody else to love you, you have self-love? Bam. How about instead of waiting on, mom or daddy not to be sick, or, your kids to do right, or them to quit slapping each other in the back seat, or your hubby to quit running around on you, or your work not to suck, or whatever. How about if you have some self-love and some self-nurturing, and you do what you need to for yourself, so while you're going into this situation, or you're in it, or you're on the other side of it, you're your best you, and you are the strongest you can be. Because if you're not in a situation now, you're either fixing to come into a situation, you're in the midst of a situation, furthermore several, or you're coming out of a situation only to go into another one. You know what I mean? So it's a revolving door. So what are we waiting on? What are we waiting on? I was thinking about this scenario going on in my life right now, and I was saying to my daughter, I said, you know what I'm so thankful of? I've got my health. And I'm sharp and I'm keen. You know what I mean? It's important, but people aren't doing it. People act like taking care of their health is a dang joke. I find it disturbing. I find it disturbing because sometimes people, first of all, they can feel like they're too far gone. You're never too far gone. Never. You're never too old. You're never too young. You're never too broke. You're never too rich. You're never too loved or unloved. You're never too nothing to take care of your health, for it to matter. Because it's like I said the other day, you lose your health, it won't matter what you have, what you need, what you got, what you desire. All you'll want is to regain your health. And until you do, ain't nothing gonna matter, So, and I remember that specifically, I remember it. I remember being down at the beach, and it was the only big family vacation we had taken, and my ex-husband's mom came, and my mommy came, and my kids, and my ex-hubby, and we were all there, and we rented this house at Folly Beach, and really, like, the two moms, they're very, very different. Like, everything was fine, but I was very sick at that time in my life, and it was right around the time it was my ex-husband's birthday, and he wanted to go do this parasailing, and I was really sick, and I was on this fast trying to heal myself, and I was drinking volcanic ash, and I couldn't hardly stand up straight, and I was saying, I don't know if I can go, and he said, you'll go, or I'll step over you in this floor and I'll go without you. And that's when the thought process started turning for me. You better take care of yourself, because ain't a dang person coming to save you. And I've realized that in my life. And even if you feel like you have a solid job, a solid home, all of it is like the wind. Everything is like a house of cards. And what you can really control is you being keen, and you being healthy, and you being strong for you, so that you can love everybody else. But it all starts with self-love. You know what I mean? So why is it people dope their self down? And I was just thinking about that when I was at home, and I was having this thing going on in my mind, on and on and on and on. And I thought, this is the kind of time that used to back in the day, I just would gorge on food too. It's like I would eat boxes and boxes and boxes, like 4 or 5 boxes of Debbie cakes in one sitting.